references this show makes to your favorite cartoons? It looks like the creator really loves Spongebob Squarepants.
If you want to watch just one more video, the Premium is the platform where you should go. Get early access to videos from The Things, The Taco, The Trendy, The Richest, and many other great channels in one place with ad-free browsing. Click this link to sign up for the Premium and get ready to binge watch videos from your favorite channels.
Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe. Today we're putting on our detective hats and checking out 10 The Loud House references to your favorite characters. Spongebob Squarepants. Let's just jump right into it. Although The Loud House is a new kid on the block when it comes to cartoons, it's clearly taking over the world. Did you know that The Loud House is already more popular than Spongebob Squarepants, even though SpongeBob was first released in 1999? The amount of SpongeBob references in The Loud House is absolutely insane, and we bet you weren't able to catch every single reference. In Season 1, Episode 1, you can see the Loud Sister fighting over a remote, but have you ever noticed the show that was playing in the background? You can briefly see it, but some say it shows a sponge and a starfish. Could it be a reference to SpongeBob Squarepants? It wouldn't be the only time the Loud House would use SpongeBob in their episodes. In Season 2, Episode 5, 4-year-old Lisa Loud's kindergarten class has a picture of what looks to be SpongeBob characters on a wall. You think that's all? Don't worry, we have plenty more references coming your way, and we'll show you even more SpongeBob references as we make our way through this video. Did you know that there are many fans out there begging for the Loud House to do an official SpongeBob crossover and create episodes with SpongeBob and the rest of the characters? Wouldn't that be just awesome? The Fairly OddParents. Speaking of favorite cartoon shows crossing over, the Loud House fans have also made several mashups with the Fairly OddParents, which has been around since 2001. We think Timmy Turner and the Loud family would get along perfectly, but we also have proof that some references for the Fairly OddParents made it to the Loud House. It wasn't just references, it was the entire show. Loud House's Episode 8 of the second season featured a crossover with all original characters from the Fairly OddParents. In the episode, Lisa Loud builds a portal in her room that lets her travel from Dimsdale to Royal Woods. As Dimsdale is the city where the characters of the Fairly OddParents live, you can figure out what happened next. Timmy finds a strange portal in the garage and enters the world of the Loud family. It's the collab many have waited for, and we loved this episode. Even the theme song for this episode features a mix of the jazz theme from the Fairly OddParents and the punk rock theme from the Loud House. It's no wonder fans are asking for a similar crossover with characters from SpongeBob. Make it happen, Nickelodeon. We hope that the series will feature even more cartoon crossovers as it continues. Which cartoon would you like to see in the Loud House? Hey Arnold. Here's a question for the biggest The Loud House fans out there. Have you seen the Loud House episode with a Hey Arnold reference? We promise we're not making this up. It's totally there. In the 15th episode of the first season, Lincoln Loud is at the community swimming pool where we can spot many seniors. But if you look closely, you'll notice that those seniors look strangely familiar. Check out this scene. It's not just Arnold's grandpa Phil from Hey Arnold. You can also spot the grumpy Miss Bitters from Invader Zim, and Jimmy Neutron's teacher Miss Fowl from The Adventures of Jimmy Neutron. Even Iroh from Avatar: The Last Airbender appeared in that community swimming pool. Imagine you could go swimming like Lincoln did and ran into your favorite cartoon characters. But out of all these references, our favorite has to be Arnold's grandpa Phil from Hey Arnold. We wish the creators would consider showing more characters from the popular cartoon. Having a complete crossover episode between the two worlds would definitely be an interesting experience. Why were these characters there in the first place? We have no idea, but we hope this means they'll make another secret appearance in future episodes. More SpongeBob. Even though The Loud House beat Spongebob Squarepants on the popular Nickelodeon charts, the creator of the show, Chris Savino, mentioned that there are no feuds between the two shows. In fact, he claims they're all one family, and is incredibly honored to be standing along such an iconic cartoon. Perhaps this is why you can find so many Spongebob Squarepants references in The Loud House. Or perhaps Chris feels guilty his brand new show is beating the popular cartoon that celebrated its 18th anniversary. Here's another subtle SpongeBob reference Chris managed to put into his show. In the 12th episode of the first season, Lincoln is seen dumping the trash. But have you noticed the star-shaped character on the trash? It looks suspiciously like Patrick's star. While this reference hasn't been confirmed, the shape of that star does look like the popular Spongebob Squarepants character. We're not sure why Lincoln is in Lola's room in the first place, but we do wonder if her room has any other furniture featuring references to our favorite cartoons. We'll keep an eye on her room in future episodes. We're not done with SpongeBob just yet. There's a lot more to come. Why do you think Chris Savino decided to give the popular sponge so many tributes? Big Hero 6. We've seen some cartoon references in Lola's room, but have you ever paid any attention to Lincoln's room? We can't blame you if you haven't, because his room is about the size of a closet. And although his room can barely fit in a bed and a wardrobe, the creator decided to also put in some characters as a reference to cartoons and movies. Doesn't this guy look just like the Big Hero 6 character? Could it be a coincidence? His wardrobe also features a green three-headed dragon that could very well be a reference to an old Japanese movie called Three-Headed Monster. We bet you can probably find many more references if you pay close attention to the kids' rooms. The creator of the show mentioned that his inspiration behind the Loud House comes from living with 9 siblings, and some of them had the same names as the characters from the Loud family. He also said his inspiration comes from Sunday comics he enjoyed as a child. Maybe this is the reason why we can spot so many references in this show. From cartoons and movies, as well as songs, the Loud House is packed with references, and we're not done with our list just yet. Futurama. So far, we've shown you quite an extensive reference this show has had to Spongebob Squarepants. It even made a few quick and very subtle tributes to some minor characters from your favorite cartoons like Hey Arnold. It had an entire episode crossover with the Fairly OddParents. But that's not all of it. The show also featured several scenes and dialogue that were influenced by Futurama. In Season 2, Episode 16, we get to see the Loud family enjoy a prank-free April Fool's Day because the prankster of the family, Luann, is at a clown camp. As the family debates how to avoid the chances of getting pranked, the 4-year-old Lisa mentions they could put her in a freezing chamber. Of course, her family doesn't agree with that idea, but the tube Lisa builds looks like it could very well be something from Futurama. In another episode, Lincoln references the famous Take My Money Futurama meme as he hilariously shouts at a delivery drone and throws cash at it. We totally feel you on that one, Lincoln. Delivery drones are awesome, but that's not the end of Futurama references. In an episode called Come Sail Away, the Loud family hosts an annual garage sale, and Lincoln wants to sell a toy rocket that features the same colors as the Planet Express ship from Futurama. Could this be a coincidence, or is it a reference to the awesome show that ended in 2013? Dexter's Laboratory. Are you a fan of Dexter's Laboratory? Here's something that's going to make you feel really old. Dexter's Laboratory was first released in 1996, which means the show is probably older than some of you guys. Season 1, Episode 23 of The Loud House seems to share the same script you can find in Season 3, Episode 11 of Dexter's Laboratory. Let's check it out. In One of the Boys, Lincoln gets tired of living with 10 sisters. We can't blame you, buddy. So he wishes he could have 10 brothers instead. Lisa, of course, made a portal that could transport Lincoln to live in the world of his dreams. The next day, Lincoln wakes up and realizes that his 10 dream brothers aren't as overprotective and clean as his sisters. In Dexter's Laboratory episode called Oh Brother, Dexter gets tired of Dee Dee wrecking stuff, so he changes her gender. The next morning, his mom calls him for breakfast, along with his brother. The male version of Dee Dee is only interested in sports and gives Dexter a much harder time than the girl Dee Dee ever did. Could it be that the two shows shared a recycled script, or is this just a coincidence? We think this is a subtle reference to Dexter's Laboratory that was only caught by the biggest fans of the show. Control-Alt-Delete. Although it's not a cartoon, a reference to the Control-Alt-Delete also managed to make its way into a couple of the Loud House episodes. You can catch it every time you see Luann's room. Luann is the goofiest out of all the Loud family children, and she's also known as the biggest prankster. Her failed jokes and terrible puns are our absolute favorite. She loves to make people laugh, but from what it seems like, she also loves the webcomic called Control-Alt-Delete, which you can find on her room's wall. It's a stick figure version of the infamous Lost comic. Chris Savino, the creator of the show, previously mentioned he always wanted to make a comic strip, and he used to love reading the Sunday comics. While he never mentioned he's a fan of Control-Alt-Delete, we can assume that this reference is Chris's shout-out to his dream of creating a comic strip. We can't wait to see all the references it'll include. Did you know that the Loud House originally started as a part of the Nickelodeon animated shorts program? One of Chris's pitch ideas for the program was a big family idea of white rabbits. As much as Chris wanted to do an animal-based show, it was later suggested he change the rabbits to humans instead. We're so glad he did. Peanuts. Speaking of modeling the show after an already established cartoon, the Loud House was influenced by Peanuts as well as Charlie Brown. If you remember Peanuts, you know that these cartoons are paced slower than the shows you see today. As kids need more comical stimulation and they need it fast, Chris combined Peanuts with very strong and comical characters and made it work. In Season 1, Episode 14, Lana has to take her sister's place in a Miss Prim and Perfect pageant. The title itself is a reference to the controversial Toddlers and Tiaras, but have you ever noticed a Peanuts reference in the episode? When Lana gets told the prize for the pageant, you can see some angels floating by, and one of them looks a lot like Charlie Brown. Can you imagine a crossover between the Loud House and Peanuts? It would possibly be one of the greatest episodes ever. Sure, the graphics would have to be adjusted, but we're pretty sure the characters would cause amazing havoc. Still, the best crossover the Loud House could make is with a show that has been referenced more than any other cartoons we've mentioned. We've seen this character on the trash in Lola's room and on the TV while the girls were fighting for the remote. These are very subtle, but we think the show is hiding one more reference. Even more SpongeBob. Of course, we're talking about Spongebob Squarepants. We're really starting to think that this is the creator's tribute and an apology for knocking down an old fan favorite show from Nickelodeon's top cartoon list. In the 4th episode of Season 1, Lincoln is seen taking a bus. Have you ever noticed the magazine Lincoln was reading? It says Giant Sub, but the colors of the submarine and the background look very similar to the color scheme of Spongebob Squarepants. While SpongeBob doesn't feature a submarine of this shape, we know that Sandy has a red submarine. We've also previously seen the orange submarine-looking Bikini Bottom bus. Is it just a coincidence that Lincoln is reading a submarine-related magazine instead of going for his typical science fiction and video game literature? I guess we'll never really find out. We bet this show has many more references than the ones we've shown you today. If you watch The Loud House and know of more references, please comment below to let us know. Speaking of references, can you name the artist and the title of every single song Luna Loud sang on the show? We could make a whole nother video just on her song references. And that's it for the Loud House references to your favorite cartoons. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. For more videos like this one, check out